Hello, I'm Gosia from Cosmic Agency. Today's video will be a mix of different chats and pieces of information that we have collected throughout our sessions with Swaruu. I'm starting fast because I want to go through some points. Okay, so first, some time ago before the Barcelona Congress, Swaruu gave us just a very short summary of their planets. The gravity and what it is, and very short, okay? So I'm just going to give you now this information. Here, thanks to this information, we can know exactly where they are coming from and where exactly, more or less, but we have some idea about the planets, okay? Because I want to pass all the information, all that I can, information that is being given to us. Okay, next piece of a chat. Some time ago, we were talking about going up to the ship, because as you know, we would love to be invited for a visit on the ship. As we understand right now, it's not really possible, as they don't accept tourists, as they say. I'm just talking about Taygeta and Pleiadians. They don't accept tourists. If we do go up, that would be probably permanent and we would not be able to come back. So that's not something that we are able to do at the moment. We still have stuff to do on Earth. So this is what Swaruu responded in this subject. Can you take us to the ship? At the moment, she says, it is not possible because it would bring a series of consequences that are not entirely favorable for you. As I always say, Salvador Freixedo was right in many things. We are invasive, even without wanting to be. And this causes that you can no longer function. She's talking to just people who get taken. And this means that you can no longer function there in that 3D reality. And then less and less to the point of collapse. They always use the example of Alex Collier. He has been taken up there and then he was quite depressed. We can destroy families, separate couples, all without our intention to do so, just for existing, just because we exist. Well, and that's one of the reasons why we cannot go up. And then we asked if their ship can be seen from below. She says, yes, you can see the ship from below. It looks like a very slowly moving light, the size of the space station, ISS space station. The problem is that the cabal knows this. And then they will always have the excuse to explain that we are something else. When someone sees the ship in the sky, they will always say that it is a space station. And when a large new ship arrives that could be seen from below, they say that a new asteroid will pass very close to Earth. They get old with those asteroids, that's what she says. It gets boring with their old asteroid story. And then I asked, is it possible to go there in the dream? It is possible, and it does happen in our dreams. However, this is what she said here. Given the very nature of 3D in which you are immersed, I can't guarantee the results of that type. Even basic telepathy is limited there, she says. So to do that, it would be preferable with a ship in a very, very close range, in proximity. And even still, it would be complicated, because the super frequencies is there precisely to limit those interactions. So not that possible, not that easy, but still I think possible. Now, very, very short question here. Someone asked in the conversations, is Planck's constant true? That's for like physicians. Physicians, no, I think understand physicians are doctors. That's for physicists, yes. Is Planck's constant true? This is the short answer. It is only from the point of view of terrestrial mathematics and quantum physics, and within the framework of self-sustained mathematical reality. Planck's constant is based on light speed. Therefore, it is not valid outside the 3D of the Earth, within the limited 10-base mathematics. That's for those of you who understand what this is about. Now, I have to go fast, sorry, because I don't have much time to tape this. Now, we also talked a little bit about the crystals and quartz. They love crystals and they love quartz. It's a living creature, an entity for them, not just some kind of lump of clay. And here, that's what she says. She says, for humans, quartz crystals are not alive. For us, they are. Quartz crystals do not move by traditional means that one would think, like lakes or paws. No, we are used to that anything that lives, it has paws or moves in some way. However, they are alive and they are masters in moving frequencies. They move frequencies. More about the crystals and stone technology later on. For example, she says, white quartz and purple amethyst quartz have a very calm personality or temperament. They transmit that feeling to whoever has it. But on the contrary, moldavite and lapis lazuli are very temperamental and high energy stones, and they get angry easily. That's why it is not recommended to have them on at all times, because if you are very happy, that will increase. But if you suddenly enter into a bad mood for whatever reason and have a lapis lazuli with you, it will amplify the feelings of anger and frustration, because the very stone enters in a low frequency spiral with you. So they should be cleaned when this happens and calmed, or else it will conserve that energy. By the way, someone once complained that I'm looking down and reading instead of speaking. Yes, because this is not about me speaking at these sessions when I'm presenting you the information. I'm not here speaking from my understanding. I'm speaking to you, presenting the exact information. I don't want to distort anything. I don't want to speak from my memory. That's why I'm reading, so the information is more reliable. Now, we talked about the brain stroke also, because last year my dad has suffered from the brain stroke, and for a short time in the beginning, now he has recovered, he's lost his memory, and he didn't understand how to do things, and he didn't even recognize my mom. So in that moment, I was asking Swaruu about what has happened to him, and is his soul still there, and what's happening on the soul level. So I'm going to share this with you, a short conversation, very short, just in case maybe some of you have the similar situation, so you can relate to this and you can benefit from this conversation. So Swaruu responds, the soul does not change. It's important. The soul is still there. It doesn't change. All that happens is that it cannot manifest fully in 3D. The brain is the translator. If something is wrong with it, the brain, then the soul and the consciousness it represents cannot work through the body. And it's a very frustrating feeling for the soul. So I asked, but is the soul still there, or maybe part of it left? Because it seems like the person is not there. You are talking and the person is not recognizing you. What's going on? He says, yes, the soul is there. However, if the experience is traumatic enough, it might leave. But that's also subject to interpretation, she says. But generally, the soul is still there. It just cannot interface properly through the brain with the reality. He, she says, the real he is there. It's the body that's out of alignment with the soul. And because it's 3D, slow and heavy, it takes too long to get back into the alignment. That alignment got disturbed. What is certain is that he is there. See this as being inside a car and wanting to make things work, but they don't. You are there, but the end result is not okay. So I'm asking, so how can he be helped the best way? And this is what she says. And this is the last thing she says about this subject. Most important thing to do here is that he must be made aware, even if you are not getting any feedback, that you, the family, knows that he is there. He may not think in concepts like names or family roles. That's why he doesn't recognize your mom. He thinks like a soul in a larger concepts. So the concept of who your mom is, in general, is there. He cannot even ask why he cannot know the words, but he is there. And he may even miss your mom horribly. But the part of the brain that translates the image of your mom may not be passing on the information to his soul. So even in front of your mom, he may ask for her. It's not like he has forgotten her. No, he doesn't know she's there. Because the image, the brain and the image, the image the brain is receiving is not passing the information to the soul. The alignment has been broken in some way. He cannot communicate. He, the soul. So I hope this helps. I'm sure many of you are in a very similar situation. Now, a few days ago, I think a week ago or something like that, we did the interview with Dale Harder on Jeff's show. I'll put the link below on the YouTube channel. And he had some questions that he sent me and that he would like to ask. And they were interesting questions. I actually asked Swaruu some of these questions for a more precise answer. And, well, I want to share these answers with you. Because in the end, I think some of these questions were not asked in the review. So there we have the answers. First question was, will Earth undergo a pole reversal, as many alarmists here say? Many people are predicting all kinds of catastrophes and disasters. Swaruu says, capital letters, no! That happened after the flood. Story about that will be given later on in detail. That happened after the flood. The flood happened. That happened after the flood, but it is because the entire mass of the Earth changed with those billions of liters and kilos of water. Everything about the weight, the distribution of gravity, and the energy and magnetic interaction of the Earth has changed at that time. That will not happen in this case now. There is nothing that alters Earth's energy dynamics in this way at this time. Nibiru and such do not exist. I will make a video about Nibiru as well. It doesn't have to happen again the same way. Next question. I know. I will talk about Nibiru more in some other video, in case your curiosity was piqued about that. Okay, question. Have you people mated with Earthlings? Answer. Yes, but they do not produce offspring unless they already have a long time of adaptation on Earth, as it happened with the colonies around Russia, Norway, Sweden, Latvia, Belarus, Lithuania, and the largest in Ukraine, Crimea Peninsula. The human race and the Taygetan race do not cross directly. They are not the same species. Next question. Do you know of hybrid beings living on Earth now? All star seeds are hybrids, she says, each to its particular degree. Do you know of current off-world human trafficking? Yes, but it is at a minimum or near minimum, not by starships anymore. They are stopped by the Federation. Human trafficking is through portals. They jump from portal rooms to Venus and Mars, and from there to spaceships to be exported. Now the question is, how do we know you are not the bad guys? Interesting question, and even more interesting answers. She says, it depends who is asking. Sure, it depends. The good and the bad is relative to each person. You decide. What do you think are the most important things humans can do now to expedite our evolution as a species? The answer. Stop fighting each other. Search for true happiness. Follow only love in your hearts. Understand that we are all one person. From the personal point of view, each person must fix their own life for your own good, working with a mentality of service to others in coordination with self-service. They are compatible ideas. They do not contradict. The service to others does not mean neglecting one's interests. As with everything, integration is needed. There are no opposite concepts, just points of view. Everything is one, two-sided mountain, not just one side. There exists nothing without its opposite. It builds it and defines it. Now, the question here is, this is interesting, which is more accurate, Star Wars or Star Trek? This actually did come up in the interview. I answered that, but let me answer that here. Star Wars is an ultra-basic representation of the Orion Wars. Star Trek is a representation or mix between a Federation spaceship and the Earth's secret space program. The crew of the Star Trek NCC-1701 Enterprise ship are of mixed or different races because it reflects the United States society. Star Trek technology is very old-fashioned compared to ours. For example, they still use radioactive engines based on antimatter. Element 115 for many, that is old. Teletransportation is a materialistic point of view. What is used is portal or mobile portals. Gravitational tubes dematerialize the molecules and put them together again in another place. Portals do work and are simpler than those teletransporters, and especially much safer. And yes, the doors, the portals, are usually round. It works best this way because of the uniform distribution of electromagnetic energy. Who are Anunnaki? Anunnaki is a reptilian conglomerate, Naga, Usungal, Draco, Kingu. What is time? Now, we are at the moment working on the time subject. We are going into the stellar navigation, different parts of stellar navigation, and time is an important component to understanding that. So it will be explained in much greater detail, but here she explains briefly what time is. It is a sequence of events caused by an individual awareness and depends on the amount of data that awareness can process. This will be explained in much greater detail. Time only exists from an individual point of view, specific to a person, consciousness. It does not exist from a cosmic point of view, and even from the collective point of view, it is highly individual to each person. It does not pass independently, and the time is reset when a person changes the body. This includes reincarnation, that is not linear as you think. Not linear. Time is not linear or cyclic. It is specific to each person and their level of consciousness, data processing per unit of time. There are no two equal ways of perceiving time. Time is the product of consciousness. It is not independent of consciousness. Last question here I have. What do you know about the walking souls? Yes, Varu knows a lot about the walking souls, and the subject is gigantic, as she says. But here, in brief, yes, the walking phenomenon is very real and is more common and more used than we even expect. All the time there are walkings. There have always been and always will be. It is an important part of how consciousness and souls function on Earth. A very high percentage of the human population are walk-ins. I would dare to say that at least half of the starseeds are walk-ins. It is an empty body or part of the matrix program. It can be or a false person, as you would have called them, she says. And then a soul chooses it because it is concordant with the experience she or he wishes to have on Earth, and for the age she wishes to enter or begin to experience. If the frequency is concordant, it will enter there with immersion technology. But what also happens is that a soul no longer wants to live beyond a few years. So that soul leaves and another comes in to use the same body. That person is no longer the same person, but the body remains the same. This to take advantage of a perfectly healthy body. And because the circumstances of that body are correct according to what the new soul wants to experience on Earth. Many immersed starseeds come in from birth. In itself, when you think about it, she says all the bodies are organic portals. Even the baby, when you think about it, you know, because she says the soul comes in at 2 weeks, 3 weeks, before it's just a clump of cells. So in a way, that is like an empty, well, empty because, no, because it has some kind of intelligence forming it already, but it doesn't have a soul. So in a way, it is some kind of a portal, and then the soul comes in, walks in. It's just that it comes in at birth. So in that way, everybody is walking. We all walk in into the body, or through the body. So in itself, all the bodies, she says, are organic portals or biosuits, as she says. And you can enter at any moment of a biological life, not only at 2 weeks of gestation. Very, very interesting. As she says, this topic is gigantic. So I hope to make a special video about this specific topic only at some point. Now I want to end with a short message from Swaruu. Now this message was presented to me one day before the Congress in Barcelona, and I actually read this message at the Congress. I didn't translate this in English, so I would like to read this. Now this is in Spanish. I'm translating, okay? So this is what she said. This is what I read at the Congress. Hello, citizens of the Earth. I am Swaruu of Erra. Greetings from me, your sister that has come from far. Greetings also on the part of 149 at that time of us here, Taygetan race, also from one human and one Ummo person on board of this ship that is located in the terrestrial orbit right now as you listen to this message. I want you to know that you are not alone and that there are a lot of you, like you, between the stars. What you would call human race is found in at least 400,000 other planets, habitable. You were not created there on Earth. All of you are stellars, whether you remember or not. All the humans are the starseeds from other places. You are all experiencing what it is to incarnate in one planet and then another, according to what you prefer. You knowing that you are free souls because no one can decide for you. We are here, we exist, and we are saying hello. We are screaming hello. It's you who are not listening. Well, you talking about skeptics, I guess. There are uncountable friendly races that are taking care of you from above. We are only representing one of many. The only reason why we are not appearing more openly or in mass is because we have seen that in this moment is not convenient for you as a species, for the collective good, because the contact would bring undesirable consequences. We are only giving a message to the few that are ready to listen. We are here, we exist, and we communicate. Whether you understand it or not, whether it falls within your expectations or not, whether you want it or not, whether it is logical or not, here we are. And we are sending you greetings to all of you with our love and understanding and affection. Swaruu of Erra. This was the message given to us by Swaruu that I presented at the Congress. Very nice. Thank you very much, Swaruu, again. Thank you very much to you as well, and I want to see you in the next episode. Bye.